Hello, everybody. This is for an in-depth review to anybody who watched the last video and anybody who is going to watch this video. You guys get to check this out. This is a Swiftpoint Z3, an amazing mouse. I can't lie, but you guys are going to hear all the dirty secrets about it that I absolutely hate, and all the features that I like. Starting off, you guys can see from the last video, I swapped out these buttons. They just pull up. They come out really easily. There's a total of 4 extras, aside for the 2 that come in already, but I thought that they were way too long because they stuck out to here. It barely made me, since I have smaller hands, be able to touch the ends. But yeah, it has 8 different buttons. We got the 2 right there, 2 right here, 2 right here, and obviously the 2 side mount mouse buttons that normally standardly come on gaming mouses. So battery life is held up. It's only at 58%. So battery life is pretty great on this. I can't lie. I've been using it a lot. I did not edit with this, so I'll give a different review. I'll give different reviews out of everything, but I've gamed on it. I'll let you know how I like it. So besides for the buttons, actually, I'll let you know on something. So it's got forward and backwards buttons. So you can pull it backwards or forwards. These 2 are just standard click. These 2 are standard click. Same with these. Now, the funny thing is, not the funny thing, I should say. The cool thing is the control on this. So you can change how much, whenever you click on something, if you use all your force for it, if you only use like 40%, if you only use like maybe 10%, you can have different functions on it. I personally don't find a need for that right now, but it definitely could come into handy for somebody who is intense in EA gaming or something like that, where they really don't want to keep, they only want to keep their hands on their keyboard for just WASD. This mouse is perfect for that, for someone who just wants to use WASD and use the mouse for everything else, gaming wise. Now, for editing wise, this will be great as well. The amount of buttons that you want, instead of going over, clicking on something, and then dragging it over, going back, clicking on another thing for like color grading, for instance, you can just hotkey between all of them. On top of that, if you have like a Stream Deck, like I have, I talked a little bit about that in the last video. It's very nice. I enjoy it a lot. I use it almost every day. But yeah, I wish they made one in white. I know they probably eventually will. But for right now, this is very nice. It's got the, if you go like this, you can feel it vibrates. It vibrates when it turns on, letting you know that it is on. And yeah, so that's pretty much the overview of this mouse for anyone who didn't watch. One thing I am missing is the gyroscope. So there's 2 of them. There's one of these, and another one that go on the back. You can see the outline right over here. It just snaps in like that. And I personally have not been able to use it. I don't necessarily know how to. You can probably look it up from Swiftpoint. They'll probably explain a little bit more. I thought this was to make it sit flat and then you can use your mouse without it tipping or anything. Because when you take it off, you can see right here it moves. You can check the axis on it. So for people who have high DPI, I only use about 800, so it's a pretty low DPI. That's just how I play my standard shooter games like CSGO, Valorant, etc. So it makes it a little bit difficult for me. I can't lie. I tried it out and then upped it even, and I still found myself when I went like this, because it can rotate a little quickly, I'd be just ending up using my power-ups on Overwatch way too fast, and it would just do it without me even trying. So I think that for someone who has a high DPI where you don't have to lift up your mouse and you're pretty much just going like this, that's a perfect solution. That's perfect. I can use that in single-player games. I can use that for editing. That's going to be a game changer. I can't lie. Now, onto the gyroscope, the actual gyroscope. Wherever I said it, I don't remember where it's at, guys. So this is the case for any of you guys who did not watch the last video. It's very nice. You can see the other two buttons right there. It's got its charging cable. I don't really need the charging cable, so it doesn't mean a whole lot to me right now. But for you that like having that, it's great. Oh, here is the other one right there that sits on it. But I can't use my mouse when I do that, which I find that defeats the purpose. There's probably a workaround for that. It's probably for people who just want it sitting flat. Now, I'd probably have to recalibrate it for that, which I really don't feel like doing. So, you know, I'll just deal with it. And I'm really trying to find it. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're back. So you can see it's all magnetic. But this is for someone who wants to use it as a joystick. I really don't play any games that use a joystick. I don't know any games that would actually be useful in this situation. So I'm finding it hard to want to. I know I'll find a need for it, because then you can change it all around, and then you can go forward, backwards, sideways, angles, whatever you want. It's a full 360. So you could use it like a joystick to look around, probably, on certain games if you want to play, or even for editing. But at the same time, I don't find it too much of a use, so I'm not going to use it. I bet there's people out there that would more go into the in-depths of this mouse with that and focus solely on the gyro. But for me personally, I'm not going to use it. The only thing that I'm actually going to use is the side tilts that it already has. But that pretty much does it for the overview of the buttons, how I think about it, what I use it for. I haven't found it actually too finicky, though. But, so, that's just my personal opinion. For any of you that actually have this mouse, let me know if you have any other quirks, how to work the bottom plates for these guys. I'm a little too lazy and I just don't feel like doing it anyways. But I found it very nice before I go away from it into the software aspect. I find it very nice swapping out these two buttons because my hand rests comfortably on these two and then it just arches over. It feels very ergonomical. And then if you want to, you could go like this and press those two buttons. Otherwise, you can come up here and then do the same. But you can press two buttons at the same time on this mouse, which is very neat. I really haven't done that because it just feels awkward. And I don't want to accidentally not press it or overpress it. So I usually go up to here. I'm usually swapping between it. And then coming up here. My fingers really aren't long enough for these two. I mean, I can definitely go over to this, but you see, like, this is where I rest. Going up here is a bit of a stretch. So it makes it a little difficult trying to do that. That's what I've found. But not having a mouse that's ever had this, like, middle finger to pinky rest, it's very nice. I can't lie, it's quite comfortable. I enjoy it. From going from the G502X, honestly, this one is a little bit more ergonomical because there's less buttons going on. Don't get me wrong. Super fast. great mouse. If you don't feel like shilling out $200, you can get this one used like I did on eBay for about 80 to 90 bucks. So all right, you guys, we are back. So anyone who didn't see this in the past, this is just the overview. I've got my presets up here. They got this for Premiere Pro, copy, undo, blah, blah, blah. I got Overwatch set, CSGO set to 80 DPI, Valorant, I have to change that. Play Risk of Rain as well. It's great, honestly. Super user friendly. I can't lie. And it already maps out for your games. You can even, for ones that aren't in it, like Risk of Rain wasn't, just a pre-game. I just added in the profile for it, and it auto keybinded everything for me, and then you can just change it. And you don't even need to change it in game. You can just change it here. So you can see right over here, I changed these so I have none. I changed the mouse buttons. A lot of it has none. It had some before that I decided to change because it sucked. The way that it was kind of blew. I have one really bad thing for you guys here, though. So if you're an esports user, I would highly wait until they fix this, because this is something that's just absolutely absurd that should not be happening. I get the mouse just came out, but the fact that this got through the testing period absolutely sucks. So when I start up my PC, it's a 50-50 that my mouse will be lagging across the screen going like this as I'm just ringing it, and it takes forever. And I'm trying to close out of different startup apps that come up, and trying to get into my games, and it makes me have to turn off my mouse, turn it back on. And one time I turned it off, turned it back on, and it wouldn't even reconnect to my computer. I had to turn it off and turn it back on for it to register, and then I went back to normal. It has happened in games when there's high loads as well, high amount of stuff that's going on in the game, and it starts to make it lag. I don't think that's a problem if it's wired in. That shouldn't be a problem. I haven't tested it. I don't play wired. But for the wireless dongle, it's not a thing with my USB port. My USB port is perfectly fine. It's the mouse itself. It's the dongle. It sucks when it comes to that. So I'm pretty sure that's a bug that they can just update. I should send that in. I should also say that Swiftpoint does not sponsor me. It would be awesome, because I'm making these reviews. I'm one of the first people to be making a review. I hope that Swiftpoint sees this, and I hope this reaches Swiftpoint, because that is my only big take on something that needs to be fixed. I'm trying to play Valorant. I'm trying to play CSGO. Some of you guys might be playing Comp or Premiere or something like that. What if you're playing Premiere and you're trying to clutch up and your mouse starts lagging and you can't get your shots because of it? That's a problem. I've never had that with a mouse before, so I can't lie. That kind of sucks. Swiftpoint. But that's the only thing that I really don't like. I pretty much covered the other things that I really don't like. The starting buttons that are able to be swapped, which is very, very nice. I'm very glad. You can even outright not have them if you don't want to. I do like having the option. It's solid. The amount of buttons that are on there is great. I think it's definitely tailored towards people who have bigger hands, though, because of the two side buttons up on the front. I can't really comfortably reach my hand. I can train it to be comfortable, but for somebody who's has smaller hands, it kind of sucks, especially with the starting ones. That's great for people who have longer fingers, who can reach past and not have it affect them. It makes it easier to be able to hit the buttons too, with those being longer out, more room to hit. Anyone who has small hands, stay away from this mouse. I can assure you, you probably will not like it, because there's all these buttons before you actually get to the left mouse button and right mouse button, the right click, left click. So that's just starting off. But besides for that, the DPI change is great. Being able to customize your buttons in here is great. The tilt shift honestly works great. I just have lower DPI. Another thing to take into account, if you are naturally using up your entire mouse pad with lower DPI, that's something to consider, especially with me, who has the biggest keyboard out there. You guys can't really see it too much, but this is a full-length keyboard. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm not going back down to the Razer Huntsman Mini. It probably wouldn't be a problem if I had that still. More room. But for me, I'm left with a quarter of my mouse pad. So, just taking it into consideration, if you have a lower DPI, if you have smaller fingers, and if you're an esports user, at least wait until the bugs are fixed out for the software. And for the other users, heavily consider this. It's $200 for the mouse. I don't know if the prices went up, and if it was cheaper for the pre-orders, they could be up to $250. I'm not too sure. But for me paying for it for pre-order, it's $200. It's not a cheap mouse. $200 is not cheap, guys. A lot, especially in this economy. So that's forking out a lot of money. I can't lie. So, but aside for that, this has been great. I'm pretty much wrapping up near the end of it. I can do some gaming videos as well. If you guys would like, please comment below what you want to see next about this mouse. If you guys want to see gameplay of it being used in action, I'm not going to get into it with this video. This was just my week review on having it. It hasn't been a full week, guys, but I've had enough time to understand its quirks and its best features. So overall, a very, very solid. I'd give this mouse on a rating, I'd say it's probably about a until they get those quirks figured out, I'll give it a 7. If the quirk for that is figured out, I'm gonna give that a solid 8.5. Comparing it to this mouse, for the comfort and lightness of it, even though this is not a light mouse, difference between these mouses, this one is significantly heavier. Another thing to keep in mind, it is very heavy for a mouse. But this one, it was considered a very heavy mouse, and it makes it feel light. So this one, I would say, is a 9.5. I've never had anything wrong with it. Nothing has ever gone bad. Overall, solid mouse for $80 for it being used. Brand new is like $150, $130, something like that. I think they brought their prices down now. It used to be $180 to $200. I think at one point it was $250. I could be completely wrong when it first came out. I don't know. But those are my personal opinions and my reviews on this mouse. So if this helped, please give it a like. Comment in the comment section below. Let me know anything that I missed, anything that you guys want to see upcoming. This is just unsponsored, unedited videos because I want to keep them sincere. I want people to see how I truly am, and I don't want it to be, well, this mouse is so great when it's not. You know, it has its flaws, it has its things. I've always been pretty unbiased. For the most part, there's certain things that I'm more biased about, but thank you guys. I will see you guys in the next video, maybe a couple days, maybe a week, maybe a couple weeks. I'm not too sure, but thank you guys.